Nerd alert. Nerd alert. Nerd
All right.
alert.
Hello, folks. This is FourLetterNerds. I am Dan Parkhurst.
I'm Amy Sanderson.
I'm Maren Ayers.
I'm Liam Dennis.
I'm Brian Smith.
And we're your
Robot.
What was the last thing you said?
That's a robot.
Robot.
I realized I said it in a robot voice.
I am Brian Smith.
His name's,
We are all robots.
His name's hyphenated. It's Brian Smith Robot.
Is that like Zach stage left Zach stage left Norland, which he introduced himself as, or stage left Zach Norland last time we recorded? You didn't get that?
I was drunk.
Fair enough.
Go on.
Just in all honesty, who here is drunk right now?
I've
Who is high as fuck?
I had
There we go.
I had
Good.
one cider.
Our engineer is high as fuck, so that's good.
He did a great
Yep.
job. I had one cider.
Thank you, Liam. I'm glad you can enjoy our company. Without.
It's yeah.
This is
It's
just
my
a
hip.
regular
It's
day.
my hip.
It's
I
his
have an
hip.
old man hip.
So we're here to talk about Star Wars: Force Awakens. If those of you haven't heard of the movie, it's kind of a new IP. It's about people with laser swords and
What?
galaxies far, far away. So
That's not.
I know
possible.
that it's a brand new concept, but we really feel like you guys should watch it if you haven't. And
I need to see it. It sounds cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
laser
does sound
sword.
cool.
Yeah.
Similar,
Sword.
oddly, it seems like you guys are actually wearing.
Oh,
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
That's super weird.
Who
Yeah.
knocked me out and dressed me while I was unconscious?
That sounds awesome.
That
Please help me
is
in the morning.
insane.
Who knocked me out and dressed me? That's like screaming out, "Someone put shit in my pants" and running away because you shit yourself. You're like,
That happened to me too.
yeah, today,
Man,
right now. All right,
it's a really weird day.
we're fucking around, guys. I'm sorry. So let's get right into it. The movie's sort of been not sort of. It has been anticipated for like 30 years, and been super anticipated for the last 3 years. And I was just curious what we thought of it, Amy.
There's very few words and very many words to describe my love for this movie. I didn't know what to expect. I knew I would love it no matter what. 'Cause it's Star Wars, I would just love the theme of it, but I didn't expect to love it so much as it is and how it was written, and just I was so happy, mouth agape and smiling the entire time.
Amazing, Maren.
I was really excited too. I expected to like it, but not this much. I was laughing the whole time. I cried a little bit. Smile on my face pretty much the whole time except for the times where I cried. It was amazing, and I love all the feminism in it.
That'd
Awesome.
be a really scary cry face if you're smiling while you're crying.
just really snotty. It's, confession, guys. That's how I cry all the time. Liam.
I'm kind of with Maren. Like, I expected to like it, but not this much. Like, it was funny. It was heartfelt. It was captivating, and it left a lot of like really good questions while also covering a lot. Like, it was just really well rounded.
Fair enough. Good job, Brian.
Star Wars is back.
That's it. That's what I really
Thank
need.
you, robot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean,
Excuse me, Master. Star Wars is back.
well, yeah. I think it's back. It has a classic feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
It was just great. I loved it.
Excellent. So how would you rate it, Brian, out of 10?
Out of 10,
Yeah.
10,
Okay. Liam.
10.
Yeah, I think I'd have to go. It was solid as shit.
Solid as shit. Maren.
That's some good shit. I give it a 9.
Okay.
It's like 9.5. I don't
9.5?
feel comfortable with 10 because like that's it's hard to say that. But
That's
9,
Empire level.
yes,
It's 10.
Yeah. Empire to me is a 9. Empire is really good. I give this one a 7. Now, I'm
Dan is such an asshole.
I am.
Oh,
I give it a 7.
B
and
plus.
we'll talk about why that is, but it was much more enjoyable than it could have been. I coming out of the theater, there was stuff that kind of bugged me, but basically the way I look at it is that the prequel trilogy I probably laughed and enjoyed as much as I rolled my eyes in this one, and I rolled my eyes in the prequel trilogy as much as I laughed and enjoyed this one. So it was like a complete reversal. So therefore, while the movie's not perfect, I feel like there's hope for the future. I'm excited about the next ones, and which we'll talk about that as well.
Would you say there's a new hope for the future?
Oh, I would say there's a New Hope because this was basically a remake of A New Hope. It was basically a remake of that
Okay.
entire movie.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
a lot of the major plot points and character points were very much mirrored from A New Hope. Now it's a better version of that movie. And in some ways it's not exactly a better version of that movie, but I felt like it was made to sort of pay service to the fans by a huge fan, which is J.J. Abrams. And in that way, and in it being fun, it really delivered. And I think that the tone of the movie, this was the funniest of all the Star Wars movies.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
And because of that, I feel like you can forgive a lot of problems with it. But I feel like that this one ended up being funny because they're trying to pull people back in because they know that the prequels did not go over well and people are just kind of like jaded by that.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's probably going to get real fucking dark in episode 8.
It better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean there was some dark shit in this one,
They
but
killed 1 billion people in this movie. That's not dark enough.
yeah, well,
Jeebus. So many planets.
yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, they killed a bunch of people on Alderaan.
Yeah, that's true.
The
In the first
stormtroopers
one.
had really good aim in this one.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, stormtroopers were not as terrible
The
as they usually
stormtroopers were
were.
ragdolls in this movie.
Yes. So yay genocide by stormtroopers.
Good job. They're really good at killing people now.
Huzzah.
Hashtag all stormtroopers.
But, I mean, they flew around.
Okay, so Maren said she cried. Did you cry?
Definitely. I cried a couple different times. Like when Finn and Rey, like when they first discovered Rey on that planet, and basically Chewie communicated in his way that it was Finn's idea, and Rey was just like, oh, and they hugged. I was like, oh, they're friends. Like that was a beautiful moment for me. And then of course when, like when Han died. Do we specify like spoiler alert when we started this? We should
Yeah,
probably-
no, it's
oh.
it's
Okay.
going to be in the title. It's a spoiler podcast.
Good.
By the way,
Okay.
spoilers.
Yeah, FYI.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. They
Han.
know. We're talking about the movie.
Dumbledore dies.
Yeah, you can't have a whole podcast about the movie if you're talking about what actually happened in the movie.
So he died, and I didn't cry in that moment. I was overcome by emotion. The feels were all up in me, but then the tears started pouring when Leia and Rey were like looking at each other, because it kind of like that's when it hit me more that it was just like the loss that they had in that moment. So good.
Maren, where'd you cry?
I definitely.
Cry right now.
I'm probably gonna cry right now. Okay, honestly, I started crying when they let us into the theater, and then I cried when the music started and the actual movie started and the trailers were over, and then I full cried when Han died, and I was like, "What the fuck? Why is this movie happening?" So yeah, sadness.
Good. Liam?
Yeah, I started at the Lucasfilm splash. That was about where it started, and then when the music started, that was incredible. And Han dying, them showing everyone that like could feel it or could tell that it happened, and pretty much every time they showed Chewbacca after that was just really sad.
Yeah, he went ape shit.
Dude.
Yeah.
He went Wookiee shit.
Yeah, I have never. Yeah, he went Wookiee shit. Now, I guess one of the questions is now that his. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to what happens with Chewbacca. Brian, did you cry at all?
I teared up a little bit during the text scroll
Robots
Okay.
don't cry.
when I was.
I got a little choked up. I mean, I knew that Han was going to die, and that's mostly because I knew that I seem a little low. Am I low? I seem a little low in there.
Get low.
I noticed that I knew that Harrison Ford would not have come back unless he was
he
going to
wanted
die.
out of the original trilogy.
Yeah, he wanted to die in Empire, and then he wanted to die in. Actually, he was supposed to die in Empire, and they decided just to freeze him. And then
Close enough.
Yeah, and then he wanted to die in Return of the Jedi, and George Lucas didn't let it happen. And so he's always kind of had like a chip on his shoulder about that, because he kind of felt like the character had run its course, and he just didn't really enjoy playing the character in the last. I guess mostly in Return of the Jedi, he just didn't enjoy playing the character because he felt like like there's only so much that you can have have that character do. And so actually being able to come back and say, okay, I'm gonna actually be able to end this character the way I wanted to. It's gonna matter, and actually give him some sort of a character arc that he ends in the place where he never would have been in the beginning of the first one, which is that he cares about people, and he cares enough about a son that he probably never would have had because he was a loner. And to be like, I know this is dangerous, but I'm going to go out there and try to save this person. And
What a way.
it killed him, yeah. And
It was
and
such a
killed him.
great, like, he did such a good job saying that up.
Yeah, and that
Yeah,
and Harrison Ford knocked it out of the park. I felt like he was great in this. I mean, that dude's in his 70s, and he's killing it. Like Harrison Ford was the best actor coming into that movie, and thankfully, I felt like everybody really stepped up their game. Adam Driver was awesome. Like just that whole
he was
scene,
amazing.
Yes,
that
the
whole
scene
scene
was-
with them was really touching, and like I knew it was going to happen, and like I was still like all like sucked up into it.
Yeah.
And he gets run through and then puts his face on Ben's face, and then falls off, and you're just like fuck.
Yeah.
And it was just, but it was great. It was a great way to end that, and I felt like it was just as, if not a little more, impactful than Obi-Wan dying, only because he's been, I mean, that was one of my issues with the movie, was that it relied so much on the first few movies, but in that way, it does allow you to like him again, even if you haven't seen the other movies, and maybe even feel that, because the performance between Adam Driver and Harrison Ford was so good in that moment, that I got choked up.
Yeah.
That was
yeah.
that was definitely a time that it happened. What were we talking about?
That
Pride?
was that's one thing I really wanted to bring up, was the acting. I thought the acting was fantastic. It was like everyone in this was 100 times better than Hayden Christensen.
Oh my God.
They're so static.
The
in the last one.
BB-8 was like 3,000 versions of Hayden, like times 10.
Well, I mean, the thing is that if you look at the directing, if you look at A New Hope, it's corny, and the only real reason that you had good performances in that movie is because Harrison Ford is naturally fucking good,
Yeah.
and then Alec Guinness is a fucking champ.
Yeah.
So like Alec Guinness was nominated for Academy Award for that movie, and rightly so, because he brought so much like real like groundedness to that movie, and it would have come off hokey from anybody else.
Oh, yeah.
And he was so good in it that he made people care, and that's really hard to do. It's really hard to do when you're surrounded by people who aren't seasoned actors, because Mark Hamill was not, Carrie Fisher was not. Like most of what you're dealing with is young people, and he brought so much like centeredness to that movie, and I felt like Harrison Ford kind of did that here, and thankfully he didn't necessarily have to, because like you said, Daisy Ridley was so good. Daisy Ridley is going to be a star.
Yeah,
like
she's great.
I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to the other Star Wars movies that she'll be in, but I'm specifically looking forward to her in other movies.
Yeah.
Because I feel like she brought an awful lot of emotional range that you just didn't get to see in the prequel trilogy.
No, yeah.
Because of the directing was bad. Like if you direct a terrible performance at Natalie Portman, you're fucking doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
seriously.
if you watch her in The Professional, and she's like 12 or 13 years old, she's so fucking good in that movie.
She
And
is.
you're like, this girl can act her way out of a paper. She can act her way out of anything. Like I'd be compelled to watch her, and then you watch her in the prequel trilogy, you're like, oh God.
you can
Andy, you're breaking my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. Like, only in those movies have I ever, like, not appreciated, like, and I don't blame her, because I feel like if she had been directed differently, and the way she was acting wouldn't have been bad and different, like, if it had been better otherwise. Like, they didn't get the opportunity to do better.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you could see that most of the actors in the prequels didn't really care.
Well, I feel like of the ones that did care, and it was mostly just Ewan McGregor, and he was just like, I'm gonna have fun with this.
I love
Yeah.
you.
And Ewan McGregor took it seriously for the first two, because he was really trying to channel that sort of centeredness that Alec Guinness brought, and
Yeah.
then he's like, I'm just gonna have fun in the third one.
You can hear Ewan McGregor in the new movie.
Are you Dan?
Yeah, you can hear his voice talking when he says, "These are the first steps." and like after she touched the lightsaber.
Oh shit.
Oh,
So cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing I want to talk about. Okay, so let's. So we all loved it. Were there any points that were cringeworthy for you guys?
Yeah.
Cringeworthy, Amy. What was your cringeworthy
I
moment
didn't
for
know it
you?
was me first. I feel like if there's ever a moment in the movie, because I really struggle with thinking about this, if there's parts that I really would change or like wanted more from, would be the very end. Was just them. It felt kind of anticlimactic, the fact that she climbs up that far and is all she's doing is just gesturing with the lightsaber, and Luke doesn't speak. I would have really liked something, one word, a couple words, a different movement besides this, and then a pan around them and then over. I felt that it felt empty.
Yeah, that was actually one of the ones that I rolled my eyes, but it was mostly just because how long can you stand there holding out a lightsaber
Say something
without anything happening?
Say something.
Like, how long does that happen? Like simple, I found something of yours, or him saying something like, "I've been waiting for you." Something like something like that, because it felt
something to chew on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Luke looked pretty confused.
He did look confused, and you're just like, was he really just standing up here waiting for her to show up? Like he's just standing up there by himself, facing away, just so he could turn around and pull his thing down.
Well, he had to.
That's what he's been doing since he went in hiding. He's just been standing on that mountain, staring off into space.
He's just kind of waiting. He's just kind of meditating the whole time.
With the Force, I'm sure he sensed her. But my question when I saw her walking up and I knew it was going to be Luke, I was just like, how does he eat? Where's the food?
Where's his home?
The Force. The Force brings you food. If you learned anything about midichlorians, okay,
you eat
it's
them.
It's like the sunlight. The midichlorians take the sunlight and transfer it into food.
So you're basically like
that's chloroform.
I was about to say like
Chlorophyll.
So we're like plants.
Chlorophyll.
Well, this-
Wow, you wish it's
Chloroform is something
chloroform.
different.
Chloroform is what they used to dress me this morning.
I'm sure he goes fishing or something like that.
That's a real
possible.
answer.
He just uses the Force to pull a fish out.
That's badass.
That would be pretty sick, wouldn't it? That'd be pretty awesome. Maren, any points where you kind of rolled your eyes?
Yeah. Well, I was bothered when, after Han died, that Leia initially went and hugged Rey instead of Chewie. They have decades of a connection to Han. They are the closest people to Han Solo. So I thought it was weird that she didn't initially go and hug Chewie first.
Yeah, that's fair. Liam, was there an eye roll moment for you?
I have to kind of agree too with the last scene just being very meh.
Anticlimactic.
Yeah, just very anticlimactic. Like there is so much build up, and it just is like, we're just gonna stand here and stare. Like is I don't know. It was kind of, I know that it's because there's another movie and they're leading on it, but it is I wanted a little more to think about, to talk about. Like, they could have, if they had Luke just say one word, people would have been talking about like every bit of his inflection for the next year and a half that we're gonna have to wait for the next movie. Like,
right?
Yeah.
2 years?
No, year and a half.
Year and a half.
Better be a year and a half,
Yeah.
Brian.
May now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, Brian.
Never mind.
Evil robot.
Yeah, we get 3
Bad
Star Wars.
robot.
We get 3 Star Wars movies in a year and a half. So next year at this time we're gonna have Rogue One, and then 6 months later is Episode 8.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Brian, were there any eye roll moments for you?
Every time General Hux appeared on screen, I really didn't like that guy. Like,
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was a little too sniveling for you.
Yeah, he was a little too whiny for a general.
Yeah, it's true. He was definitely not Peter Cushing.
Yeah.
In the original.
No
Peter Cushing.
Tarkin.
Yeah, no Tarkin, Grandma Tarkin. There were a number for me. Like for me, the dialogue between Han and Leia was really stilted. Mm-hmm. Like it felt a lot like the interactions between Indiana Jones and Marion in Crystal Skull, and I was just like, it feels like you guys have not talked in a really long time. Like it feels like the chemistry's gone.
Yeah.
And it was and that was one of the things that made me sad is that like Carrie Fisher was essentially an exposition machine. She didn't really bring anything. Like she wasn't really given a whole lot.
No.
And them just talking about their son the way they did, it felt really unrealistic. I'm like, I don't know that they would be saying these exact things out loud. Like you know, when you watch the best of them, which is, you know, Empire, like everything's built so much on subtext, and there just wasn't any subtext in those scenes. And I felt like that sucked because, you know, in any good relationship is you show that through the subtext of their interactions, and I felt like there was just none there, and it was just like, this is what's happening. We're gonna explain this to you because we have to get on with the plot.
Right.
Yeah.
I also rolled my eyes at the Star Killer, how easy it was to destroy the Star Killer. They pull up that schematic for the Death Star, and they're like, oh yeah, that was difficult, and they're like, oh, this one's bigger. And you know, I mean, the Rogue One is about them going in and stealing the plans for the Death Star, and so they're making a whole movie about that. And the whole first movie was about how difficult it was to get that, you know, them stealing them having those plans. And then this one, dude was just like, oh no, you just blow this thing up and it's cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
I remember thinking, now that you say that, I think I would like just only remembered all the beautiful moments and forgot everything else.
Yeah.
But when
Yeah.
that planet blew up, I was just like, that felt really quick.
Yeah,
Like,
it was too easy.
Yeah.
It was for being a much more powerful weapon. It was way too easy.
Yeah, for such an
full of
important
sun power.
facility, there's no space defense to it. Like there was no Star Destroyers hanging out. Well, there's
Yeah.
one, but it didn't do anything.
Yeah,
One thing also with like how easy it was to destroy that is how easy it was for them to get Captain Phasm to put down the
Phasma.
shields. Like it was just do it. Oh, okay.
yeah, because anybody knows how to do it. Just like you know, Finn was supposed to have worked in sanitation. Why the fuck would they tell you like where the generator is to blow that shit up?
Yeah,
they wouldn't tell you
how
that
it
shit.
worked.
Maybe he
like in
deduced
military,
it.
that's not how it works. Like,
I think Phasma giving up, like, 'cause I thought the same thing. I'm like, that seems super easy. Oh, you know, put down the shield or else. Okay. Like, what? Wait, you don't want to die, so you're putting the shield down, but you're going to die if they catch that you did that. I think it's saying more about what that character is going to be doing. Like, I feel like there's something we don't know about the character.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was also an opportunity for like they could have had like a really cool like hand-to-hand combat scene or like just something.
Yeah, which they
that-
never really
But
have.
If
Yeah.
Phasma ends up not being bad, then
Yeah.
it makes sense. That's a big if, but if ends up not being a bad character and maybe they're not connected, she's not connected to the New Order completely, that would make sense. Why?
Yeah, I felt she was wasted.
Yeah.
As an actress.
I was expecting something in that scene, less hand-to-hand combat, but I was expecting her to actually do something different, like alert someone instead of dropping the shields, because it's not like they know exactly what she's doing since they don't know how it works. She could have done anything with that board.
Right.
But she
But
didn't.
didn't you see the pictures?
I like colors.
But it's like, I don't know if they know what all that shit means.
The last thing kind of made me roll my eyes was how R2 just kind of woke up for no reason. Why did he turn on? Like supposedly he went into low power mode because when Luke went away, which makes you kind of think the subtext of that is that Luke put him in low power mode.
They show that happening.
They show what happened.
In Rey's flashback, they show Luke powering down.
Oh, he powers him down? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
See, I
with the
thought he was
hand.
putting his hand on him. Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what everyone's been thinking. Is that was him.
That was him
being
powering
like,
him down?
Yeah.
Being like, yo,
Okay.
little
Right.
dude, I'm sorry, but I gotta go.
Right,
Yeah.
but the thing is like what woke him up?
Well, okay, I can't remember exactly when he was powered back on again.
He powered back on right after Rey and them got back.
Did you
and
say
Han
it's
died.
because Rey's like abilities have grown and there's a connection between her and Luke? You're rolling your eyes.
Senses it in
Why
the
are you rolling your
Force.
eyes?
I'm rolling my eyes at that because that was one of the things that bothered me is that Luke is supposed to be super powerful and he took all sorts of training like to do anything cool and Rey is just somehow like, oh,
Rey's
I
like
know
supernatural in this.
Yeah, I know how to do the Jedi mind trick. I can pull a lightsaber to me. Like she was just immediately like one of my buddies at work said, man, Rey sure learned how to Star Wars really quickly.
Well,
and I was like, yeah,
Women,
a little
right?
too quickly.
I know. None of the comics or anything like that are canon anymore. But in some of the old Dark Horse, I think it was Dark Horse comics, or one of the comic series, before the Empire Strikes Back again, Luke actually fights Vader, and Luke had no training at all at this point, like for very little, just right after the first movie. So Obi-Wan actually like guided him through the Force to kind of fight. Like basically, he took over Luke Skywalker and used and fought Vader. He's like a puppet.
Yeah, there's a reason why that's no longer.
Yeah,
because supposedly they haven't met again until
things
Empire,
like the Force just like channeled her.
Yeah.
Movies.
I think even if you go by canon, look at Empire. Yoda is explaining to Luke that the reason that he can't lift the X-Wing is because he doesn't believe it. And he says, it's not the same as moving some rocks around. And he's like, yes, it is. He doesn't believe in his power, but you see early on that Rey believes it.
Yeah.
Well, you see, but the thing is that Jedi, according to her, are supposed to be myths.
Yeah, no, but then when she meets Han,
She meets Han.
You're
He
real.
says it's all true, and she's like, "Oh, cool, I can do all this stuff."
Well,
I'm like,
and then also in the scene with the stormtrooper Daniel Craig,
yep.
you see her try and do it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work. He's just like, I'll tighten those restraints, and you see her kind of like step back and be like, I really have to feel it.
The first time where her powers were awoken in this movie was when Kylo tried to pull information out of her head, and she fought back.
Yeah.
No, the first time her powers were awoken was when she touched the lightsaber.
Oh, I'm
Yes.
sure.
And I feel like it was then that she realized that she sensed something was different, because that I forgot what the creature's name was with the big eyes or the big glasses.
Maul.
Basically,
Maz.
Maz.
she talked to Rey about
Nada?
the Force and about what basically. I wish I could quote her because I loved that scene. And Rey basically ran away and didn't want to touch the lightsaber. I think it scared her because there's so much she didn't understand. But I think a part of her knew that she was connected to it. I can't tell if that smile is sarcastic or not.
Yeah.
But I feel like the Force is semi innate. Like if it's a part of all beings, it's all around us. I don't think that it requires a lot of training. I really like that you brought up the fact that you have to believe in it.
You don't think it requires a lot of training. So what are the Jedi for?
Well,
why do they train Jedi?
I'm not saying that in general just with any skill,
They would call it at will.
you practice and you get better. And
Yeah,
I feel
but
like that's
she
what
ended
the
up
training
being really
is for.
fucking good immediately.
Well, if she's somehow connected to Luke and or related,
I don't think she is.
I think that she
think she
is.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I don't think she would have won the fight against Kylo if Kylo didn't take a boltcaster blast to the stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also
That's pretty fair.
Yeah.
He was using his pain to help him connect to the dark
punching.
side.
Yeah.
That's why he kept
I saw
punching
that.
himself.
Yeah.
It's
Bring
interesting.
more pain.
Yeah,
upon
no, I get
himself.
that. I get that, and that was something else. I was just like, okay, so he can stop a blaster in midair, but he can't pull. Like someone who has had practice can't pull the lightsaber harder than she does. Like that was something else. I was just like,
I think he was just really wounded and that fucked him up.
Honestly, I can't help but feel that there's a stronger connection with her. Like I know that you're.
I understand the idea that they may reveal that in the future, but as far as this movie and telling a story where generally they have a character sort of demonstrate something beforehand, like at least a little bit of it. So like if you look at Aliens, you see Ripley in the little mech thing doing stuff, and then she uses that skill later to fight the mother, what is it called, the queen, the alien queen. In this one there was absolutely nothing that showed that she had any abilities like that until she does the lightsaber, and all of a sudden she's like just really good at that.
We saw her
shit.
kick some serious ass with a staff.
Yeah,
Another
that's true.
thing-
But that's not. I'm gonna make you do what I want with my mind.
Well, she
That's
could have
not-
been using
that's
the
not
Force abilities.
Being able to direct something to your hand. Like those are two so very different things. She can be a badass. That's fine.
Well, they do also show though that that Kylo, there's still parts of his training that he feels he can work on more, that other people feel he can work on more, and he also is towards the end kind of struggling to be dark. Like he even says it himself at one point. he's trying to like push out the light pretty much.
I think he has to force it too. I mean, the whole time he's having temper tantrums. Anytime that something goes wrong and he just like loses his shit like a toddler, I don't think he's that powerful compared to what he could be. Like
No, I don't
Vader.
think he is.
So I feel like it's because of that too. That combo.
But
to,
he's
like,
the only one to stop a blaster fire in midair and hold it there.
Yeah.
That seemed pretty fucking powerful.
Yeah, but I feel like that's a moment. I don't feel like he has control 100% of the time.
If it's control that we're talking about, that you're trained for control,
That
Rey's had zero training.
the moment he stopped the blaster, I'm really bad with timelines. Was that in the beginning before?
That was the very beginning.
Very beginning. Okay. Basically, at the peak of his confidence levels. So, like, where I would think that his confidence about where he was and what power he has compared to others and what control he has over what he's doing was at the highest. So, I think that he could control more of his abilities and do something like that then, versus as time went on, he basically, the stormtrooper escaped and basically became the end all for everything that happened after the fact, Finn. And I feel like after that, those abilities, like, because he doesn't have full control over himself, because he's losing confidence in what he's doing because of what was happening, that he basically could have stopped if he had realized what Finn was doing and what he was going through.
You know, I have another theory. It could also just be that he had an audience. There were a ton of people there, and so he was maybe concentrating more on controlling his power. And maybe when it was just he and Rey, maybe it just wasn't as important to him to win because he has that struggle within him. He's not trying to put on the show like, I am this evil dude.
Well, he had that struggle, and I felt like the moment where he just sort of gave in was when he killed his dad. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like the struggle. I felt like he was not struggling as much with it. Like he was like, I'm just going to fucking go ahead and go. Like I felt like his changeover was much more believable than Anakin's.
Okay.
You know, like I felt like he was actually in the moment like really struggling with it, and then like he did it, and he was like, okay.
He's what Anakin Skywalker should have been in the prequel trilogy.
Exactly.
Anakin's turnover pissed me off so much. Really, younglings? Really?
And the last, that was the best part of that movie.
I bet you would
Because it was
think so.
fucking dark.
Yeah.
But the last thing was, you know, again in this bit where they're having the lightsaber duel, and I understand that he wasn't as good with the lightsaber because he was injured. That makes sense. It makes sense why it was taking him a little bit to really take down Finn, because Finn, I didn't seem to have much training either. And I like the fact that these fights were a bit more rough and tumble than like the choreography of the prequel trilogy. The prequel trilogy, it just looks like they're dancing.
Yeah.
Like this looked like these dudes are trying to kill each other.
Yeah.
Like remember, I forgot what I read. Somebody said like, the other ones is like, like Princess Bride kind of dancing stuff, but this one is like they're swinging heavy weapons kind of thing, like really trying to hurt each other.
Yeah.
More medieval.
Yeah.
Yeah, my last eye roll was at the precipice of the cliff when he was, when he had her at the edge of the cliff, and she just takes 5 seconds with him being like,
the Force.
What's happening right now? He's like, oh yeah, that's right, the Force. I have that.
It's funny.
and then she closes her eyes for 5 seconds. He's just kind of like dumbfounded, like, really? You couldn't just push her off? Like, what are you doing that you're just gonna sit there and let her like center herself and then come at you again?
I think that he underestimated her. I think that he like was in. I mean, it's funny that you hated that, because that part was just like, yeah, Rey, own it. Like I liked that because I feel like she's still understanding herself, and I feel like he can sense that, but at the same time doesn't know. Right? Feminism.
It reminded me of Becoming Part 2, Buffy Season 2 finale, when Angel takes away her sword and she doesn't have her friends to help her anymore, and it's just her sitting on the ground with the sword to her face, and Angel's like, take all that away, what do you have left? And she's like, me. And then she headbutts his fucking sword and beats the shit out of him.
Now, that's true, that's awesome, but you also have a whole bunch of buildup in her training and stuff for that to happen. This had none of that.
Touche.
I stand by my.
Oh, by the way, if you
statements.
were curious about his sword, they actually had a display over at like Disneyland or Disney World when they're with the new Star Wars stuff, because his sword, his lightsaber is based on an ancient design.
Mm-hmm.
Thus, it actually produces a lot of heat, and actually it vents out the heat.
Oh, what?
That's what that's it.
So it's not an actual saber thing on the side that may cut him.
Yeah,
it's
this
just
is
venting
a
out the
vent
heat.
holes to vent out the heat, and he's using like an unstable crystal.
Crystal?
Yeah,
Awesome.
Interesting.
But based on like a really ancient design.
Rad.
Interesting.
According to like a Star Wars display at Disneyland.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I like that. I like that it actually came into play too. Like the fact that like when they were
burned them.
Yeah, exactly. Like they turned and they burned his shoulder. I'm like, that's perfect. I'm glad they actually burned it.
Yeah.
One thing I found odd during one of the fights is when Finn had the lightsaber the first time, the stormtroopers, we're doing hand to hand. He doesn't shoot him. I was just, okay, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But no, he had to bring out this really weird weapon and try to fight him hand to hand.
Like that lightning thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like that the stormtroopers had different weapons. I like the flamethrower. It felt like it made more sense that they'd have some variety besides just the guns.
Flamethrowers are cool.
It was fun. A little bit of fire.
Awesome. So let's look at. There are. I know there are points that we've all talked about what we would change in the prequel trilogy.
Not enough Jar Jar Binks.
Yes, you would want more Jar Jar Binks. You would also want Jar Jar Binks to be Darth Plagueis.
Yeah.
But what would you change about this one if you could change something, Amy?
Okay, it's not something I would change per se. I mean, talking about this now, you've made me a little sad because I see some more negative things to it, but I still love it very much. I hold true to my decimal system.
That's totally fine. I am a critic about things. So
You're critical. Interesting. Yeah. I never noticed that about you. Can I be a little more critical? Could you just No. Okay. I'm good.
Dick.
Okay. Anyways, I'm not.
I like
it's
your
not
boots,
that I
Amy.
necessarily want to thank you. I like them as well. I got them at Target. Everything I wear is from Target. I'm more afraid of what's going to possibly happen for future movies. I would love it if there wasn't an overarching love story between any characters. If it was just friendship, like this, but they built it in such a way that could go either way with Finn and Rey. And with Finn and Poe, it could easily be where they're just friends.
Finn and Poe are not just friends.
God.
They're in love.
I hadn't thought about that.
I got chills when they hugged.
They became friends really fast.
They sure did.
Finn is already wearing
They
his
sure
clothes.
did. I am looking.
Yeah, you let Finn have his jacket. He's like, you keep
It looks
that.
good on
It looks
you.
good on you. It fits you.
Oh, that would be really. Actually, I'm looking forward to a whole bunch of fan fiction about slash fiction with Finn and Poe. Yeah.
I am too.
Exactly.
Getting that sex on.
Because I just feel like too often in movies, anytime there's a female character that's attractive and thin or whatever, she's always ends up being a love interest for one of the main male characters. And I feel like that's all well and good. I do like movies that are like that, but I would find it incredibly refreshing if they kept that out. And she was a friend.
If it was that she was actually just with BB-8.
Well,
Yeah.
obviously, I mean,
He's got all the tools.
some special features
He
that
sure
would be beneficial.
Robosexuality.
Robosexual.
Like the robo thumbs up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows what's up.
Seriously, I've been wanting to talk about the thumbs up this whole time. That was the best BB-8 moment.
My entire theater laughed and cheered at that.
Yeah.
That was great.
I knee
So
slapped.
beautiful.
BB-8 had a lot of range as an actor.
He was awesome. He was so good.
Thank you,
Benny Schwartz.
Ben Schwartz and Bill Hader for giving all the sound effects to give BB-8 a whole bunch of range.
Well,
Shocked that it was people
even
doing
like
that.
how
It's amazing.
It's how he moved his little droid body, like when he's looking back and forth to Rey and Finn.
Yeah.
So yeah, they did such a great job.
Yeah.
So, what were we talking about?
Yeah.
Things that we would change.
What would you change?
Well, I know that if the books were still canon at this point, Leia would be a Jedi. And so I do like that they sort of hinted at her having a connection to the Force still, which we all know, especially from Return of the Jedi. That was a big part of the movie, was telling her that she has the Force. And, she's the other hope. But they only hinted at it, and I want her to have more power, and I hope the next ones will touch on that.
I think, honestly, that's probably not going to happen. I'm sorry.
Dan, fuck.
So they basically when they wiped the extended universe clean, the movies were the only canon that they had, and then the new books they have coming out. And I think that was smart only because
the cartoon's still canon.
The cartoon's still canon. I think it's smart only because at the end of Empire, when Luke's flying away and he's Obi-Wan's like, he was our last chance, he was the one who could bring balance to the Force, and Yoda says no, there's another, and everybody has since then assumed that it's Leia. It's probably going to be Rey, and I think that Rey is
Luke
the one that he's talking about.
Specifically tells Leia though that she.
He tells her that she has a connection to the Force because he could feel it, and that's why he was able to talk to her like he was.
Yeah, she
in
felt it
Empire.
somewhat in this movie.
Yeah,
We
so
heard that.
she's force sensitive, like Maz Kanata, but she's not. Doesn't necessarily mean that she's like the strongest Wonder Red Jedi anymore.
Okay.
At least. Liam, is there anything you would change?
Let's see. I'm trying to think of things now because I had that was one of the things that I hadn't really written down. I don't know. I liked it. I think one of the few things I would have changed is like we talked about earlier, the ending, just kind of making it,
Yeah.
more something.
Yeah.
But
The Lord of the Rings had 4. You can have 1.
yeah.
That's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Brian, is there anything you would change?
I wanted more Star Wars. No, well, let me continue. Let me continue what I mean by that. I wanted more
please
Star
do.
Wars. I wanted more space battles. They should have called this movie Planet Wars.
Okay. I want to point out real quick that the weapon was powered by a star. It was
that's true. It was a star killer.
It was a Star War. Yeah.
Literal Star War.
Literal Star War.
That's true.
Go watch a Star Wars.
Here's $10.
All the stuff I've talked about is basically the stuff that I talked about that I had problems with is the stuff that I would change. I mean, it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
but
I wanted more big ships though.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
Star Destroyers.
everything else was well done. It seems to me that basically what happened was. So Michael Arndt, the guy that wrote Little Miss Sunshine and wrote Toy Story 3, was the one who wrote the script originally and basically the Bible for the trilogy, like where it's going to go. And he was basically wanting to focus specifically on the new characters. So that's where you have Captain Phasma and Hux and all those characters. But J.J. Abrams wanted to pay homage more to the older ones, and so he basically went back in with Lawrence Kasdan and grafted everybody else back into the movie. So that's why Leia was kind of weak. And I feel like Han I think was grafted back in the movie, but they spent so much time on Han that they didn't really give a lot to the other actors. And in doing that, it kind of took away from. That's the reason why Captain Phasma probably there wasn't very much of her. And just other smaller characters like Snoke, like there wasn't a lot, and it's mostly because when they went back and redrafted it, they kind of had to remove some of that stuff.
Yeah, do you think you were gonna have some deleted scenes about them?
Yeah, well, probably not because they this was all in the script process before they shot. So all the stuff that ends up like felt lacking on the newer characters' part was probably due to that. And that may have been a smart move, but it probably helped it not be as good as it could have been in my eyes. But I think that the changes that they made all the Star Wars nerds love it more.
I agree.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Cha-ching.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately they kind of had to really start making that money back. They spent $4 billion or $5 billion to buy this IP essentially.
Merch.
Yeah, so merchandise. And the movie's already made $250,000 in just the weekend, and just in the U.S. during the weekend. So
Yeah.
Let's change an M to a B.
I would have really appreciated
very fast.
if Kylo Ren's helmet was designed like Dark Helmet.
That's what you would change.
Just that. Only that.
Okay. There were a number of mysteries sort of left hanging at the end of the film, and one of them was why would Luke leave a map? Why would Luke leave a map that's separated by two different pieces?
I can't
Which
say
is
why
kinda odd.
it would be 2 per se, other than to make it a little bit harder for like if one fell in the hands of someone he didn't want to would have a hard time fighting him. But I mean, I think it just leads to the fact that he doesn't want his daughter to be alone, forever. Have a chance to eventually find him.
Well, when you look at it, when she's dropped off in that flashback / vision scene, she was like 8 years old, so she should know what he looks like and who he is.
Well, I mean, if it was traumatizing
think.
enough, you'd think. But, like, if it was traumatizing enough, like, something like that, I mean, she obviously was on that... how old is she supposed to be in the movies? Like, she was basically alone on this planet waiting for...
She's supposedly supposed to be, like, 20, 22 years old, something like that.
Right, that's a long time to be alone and to basically be lying to yourself about when someone's going to be coming back. I don't know if she would necessarily remember.
I don't think she was ever raised by him. I think that Luke is her father, but I don't think she was raised by him. I think he sent her away right away to not compromise him, so he's not feeling, like extreme love or things like that. So I don't
keep her safe.
Yeah,
too.
I mean,
Yeah.
if I forgot what I was going to say. If she was around with Luke until she was like 8 years old, and I'm pretty sure like Leia would have known about her.
At the same time, Kylo Ren is being trained. How old was he at that time? Maybe like they weren't together because he was training Kylo.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, my theory based on the little flashback / vision thing that she saw is that she is related to one of the Jedi that Luke was training. That is not. That is not Luke.
Okay.
But was then like she was then dropped off there because Kylo goes bad or Ben goes bad and starts exterminating all the other Jedi that Luke was training, and so I think that they put her on there like to keep her safe and that they'd be back for her, and then he killed them, and I think that's why she saw. I mean, if you guys go back to the scene where he's standing there with his cronies. And they're all dressed in dark. There's bodies all around them.
Yeah.
So you're kind of wondering if, well, is that her family that's dead around them? Like they were all slaughtered by him, and so that's why has this connection to him.
Or so she was 8 years old when she was dropped off, right?
Right.
So what if she was also training there? And they saw Kylo coming and got her out of there because they felt she was like the greatest hope or whatever.
But then Jedi wouldn't be a myth.
Maybe she got force wiped or something.
Yeah. Well, she acted like she didn't know that Luke Skywalker was a real person. She's like, I thought he was a myth. So she would, if he was training her, she would know.
Yeah. And she would know who he was, and then also again, this is why I'm like she learned how to Star Wars super fast for only thinking that these were stories that she was told.
Estrogen is a very powerful hormone.
Yeah,
just saying, you wouldn't know.
Is not the Force.
How do you know?
Midichlorians is what they call estrogen.
It's a different universe. Like they have different terms. Continue, sorry. Tangent.
Okay, so someone wrote down who was Snoke. Was that you, Brian? Was that you?
Yeah, I think I wrote that in there. I was like, I'm pretty sure like that. He's not really 10 feet tall. He's like
no.
It's like a Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, well, I think it's just like in Empire. When you first see the Emperor, he's a projection that's much larger that Darth Vader's talking to it. I felt like that's kind of what they were doing.
Yeah.
And that it's very possible that he's actually very very tiny.
Very little guy. He's super cute. Or like a little
same race as that 1,000-year-old
from Men in Black.
Yeah, Maz Kanata.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you notice, like in the holo projection, like part of his face is gone.
Yeah. And I know some people were saying, maybe he's actually Darth Plagueis, and I was like,
it's Jar Jar Binks.
So how do you become supreme ruler? For shorter.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess maybe they'll go into that. I know that Benicio del Toro is supposed to be the big bad in or one of the big bads in episode 8. So let's see what do we think? What are our ideas for what may happen in episode 8? Amy, do you have anything?
Nothing. That's like basically like when I thought about episode 8, the main thing I ended up coming back to is like the character development and what they're going to do with the relationships between the characters. Like, are they going to do the stereotypical thing of like, okay, these two, like they have a friendship, they're going to end up being together because you have to have a love story in every single movie always. Or not? Are they going to split it and have a completely different storyline than we were expecting, like very much like Luke and Leia in episode 4.
Right.
Like we thought that they would be together, but then totally change basis on that. So I don't.
Yeah, their relationship ended up being a friendship relationship, and then they found out it was even stronger. It was a familial relationship. But even before they found out they were related, you knew that they were just friends. So I think it's like that. It's just going to be a friendship story.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I would love it.
Liam?
Let's see, episode 8. Curious to see how robotic they end up in episode 8.
Yeah. Robotic being Finn and Sorry. Yeah, Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
Ben Solo.
So cool. Yeah, I think that we're gonna see like a little more of like their backstory, a little more just like building the new characters and kind of explaining it. And I'm hoping it's darker, like a lot more fighting. Like, I mean, Han Solo dying, that's pretty fucking dark, but you know, just a lot more big battles, just kind of, you know.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Yeah. Is Jar Jar what character is he gonna? What role is he gonna play in the next
when
one?
are we gonna see Jar Jar again? Damn it! When are we gonna see that race?
Gonna come back.
He'll come back as a dead Jedi with
and the new official Star Wars comics. I'm not sure if you ever read the Marvel ones.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Gungan bounty hunter in there.
Is there?
Oh, badass!
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I kind of feel like it will mirror Empire a little bit in Luke training Rey, sort of the way Yoda trained him.
Except she believes it.
And I think that basically Benicio del Toro's character will probably end up being an Inquisitor. And since they're all searching for Luke anyway, that's kind of that maybe the battle will be brought to whatever planet he's on. And I don't think Luke will survive the next one.
Fuck you.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. I gotta come.
But I mean, that's just speculation, of course. So we've got a couple of other movies coming out. We've got Rogue One, which is about them trying to. It's basically a war movie directed by Gareth Edwards, the guy that did the Godzilla movie and Monsters, and it's them stealing the plans for the Death Star, which it should be a very different kind of movie. We have a Han Solo movie directed by the guys that did the Lego movie and the 21 Jump Street movies.
Lego movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's tight.
Yeah, and it's going to be more comedic, and probably a little more bonkers because Kathleen Kennedy said that she wants there to be some variety as far as the genres of Star Wars stuff, and having the anthology movies kind of allows for that, so that's really awesome.
So Jar Jar should be in that one.
Clearly.
Yes, most definitely Jar Jar should be in that one. He could be the one that trains Han to be a smuggler.
Yes.
But then they have a Boba Fett movie that was supposed to happen that the guy that directed Fantastic Four, Josh Trank, that was dropped out of because he did such a terrible job directing Fantastic Four. So they fired him and let him say that he quit.
That's nice of them.
That's why the Han Solo movie is coming out before the Boba Fett movie. What other Star Wars stories would you guys like to see that are not part of the Skywalker, not specifically part of the Skywalker thing?
Have you guys watched Star Wars Rebels at all yet?
No,
I have not.
I want to.
It's actually pretty good.
Our buddy Eli, who was a four-letter nerd, and he was in one of the episodes. He's an artist for Star Wars Rebels. You just got.
Oh yeah, Eli. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. So he keeps telling me that season 3 of that, because he's working on season 3. He's talking about how awesome season 3 is going to be. He loves what they're doing with season 2, and season 3 is going to be even more badass. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Before the Rebel Alliance has been formed, they're just this is a group of people just in the Empire whatever they can. Mm-hmm. It's a Padawan that survives Order 66, and he actually takes on his own Padawan. Mm-hmm. He pulls out his lightsaber again after like so many years. Yeah, the Darth Vader's in the show, voiced by James Earl Jones.
Yep.
Oh,
Bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It seems like a really awesome show. I really want to watch it.
Yeah, a big character from Star Wars Clone Wars is back too, but Ashoka is back.
Oh, okay.
She's older.
I want to see more of that show too.
She's awesome.
She's a badass.
There's a recent fight in the show. It's pretty awesome. I don't want to spoil it if you guys haven't seen it.
I feel like there's a love story that we never saw more of from the original trilogy. The Rancor and his owner buddy. The emotional reaction I feel when that Rancor dies and the little dog sound he makes and the owner going in and crying over him.
That's the first real cry I've seen in that movie. Even Anakin didn't really cry like that.
I was thinking how great it would be if the Boba Fett movie just is, Boba Fett being slowly digested inside. and he's just thinking back on his life, and that's sort of the... That's the framing for it. What would I have done differently?
Okay, what's that movie where he's basically stuck in between the wall, like the 24 hours, or that one? I forgot what it was called. Like he's in it was The Rock. It was based on a true
the guy
story.
who cut off his own arm?
Yeah, it's like that
Oh, yeah,
movie.
yeah, 127 hours.
So
Yeah.
the whole time we just see him.
And then we see him fly out at the end. People are like, "Oh my god, Boba Fett's alive!"
So many nerds are like, "What the
That
fuck?"
would be something. I'm gonna tell you.
Oh my god!
People would lose their shit.
Copyright that somehow.
Any final thoughts on Star Wars?
You didn't ruin it for me. Like this experience,
I tried really fucking
the
hard.
7, I understand why you thought 7. I'm surprised that your eyes have recovered from being rolled back into the back of your head for so long. But I'm so excited to see it again, and
Yeah.
I'm
Me
really
too.
excited for every other.
Yeah, I'll be watching it again with my
movie.
brother in Texas. He's a big Star Wars fan, and we'll go see the Alamo Draft House.
Cool.
Which I love the Alamo Draft House, so that'll be a great experience. Just enjoying with him. Brian, anything else?
I'm just really excited they're bringing out new stuff.
Yeah.
I'm really still as exciting as it was when I first watched it when I was like 5 or 10 years old. You know,
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah, I think everybody's kind of back there in that vein as far as feeling like Star Wars is back.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it really feels like they've done a really good job of combining like everything that was great about the original trilogy and just kind of what's been good in movies recently. Like there's a lot of great one-liners and just a lot of like sight gags and just little stuff throughout the movie to just keep it going. It's a lot of fun, you know. It was a fun Star Wars movie.
All right, thanks for watching, folks. Star Wars. If you haven't seen it, go see it. If not, send in the comments what you feel like episode 8 will be. Anything that you want to comment on as far as the things that made you roll your eyes, your favorite moments that we didn't talk about. And remember, nerd is a 4-letter word.